Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It is finally time. It's been a long off season. We've had draft, we've had combine, we've had training camp or lack thereof. It is time to go back to what we all know. It's NFL time, kicking off week 1 this weekend. And Smokey, we're back. How are you doing?
Man, I am good. I'm better than the fans of every other sport right now because football is here tomorrow.
That is true. I thought you might be better than Adrian Peterson or someone who got caught.
He got signed by the Lions, so I was actually thinking about Peterson, but if he wouldn't have been picked up, I would say that. But
that's true. That is true.
Of course, since the last time we talked, we've had a few of those. I mean, Fournette comes to mind.
Absolutely. That was crazy times. A lot of running back carousel all of a sudden. Clowney with the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of interesting ones. And Fournette, Tampa Bay really going in on it. By the way, quick side note, but do you buy any of that Bruce Arians talk about Ronald Jones being the number one?
No, and to tell you the truth, I think he probably will be, at least for the first couple games. But I think as soon as Fournette really, learns the plays, I think he's probably going to take over there.
I would have to think so. I mean, you can't sign Fournette into a backfield that already has Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy. Mm-hmm. He can't do that, and then not give him the type of snaps that he would get as a number one back, which he is. So, not really buying it.
Arians has never really used a committee backfield, so I don't know. It's hard to believe that he would. I mean, I guess it's possible. Everybody's adapting this day and age to the new style of play, but I don't know. It's hard to see Bruce Arians running, a three-headed monster back there, but.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think it's more going to be like, Shady's going to be the fourth down guy maybe for the quick passing game. I mean, that's what he's good at, right? He's a Tom Brady kind of running back, catch the screen passes and make plays out of them.
Oh yeah.
But Fournette has to be the bell, has to be number one. I'm not buying that at all. That Bruce Arians talk.
Oh yeah. For Ronald Jones might be a bench rider by the end of the season here.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. But we have predictions. For week 1. I've been waiting for this a long time, been half a year, and we are finally back. We didn't get preseason, so this is the first time we're going to see a lot of these in action. So we're expecting a bit of a choppy week. I'm going to get into my betting predictions, or like my betting tips for some of you who might put some money on the line after we do the predictions. But we have starting on Thursday night. Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. And, Smokey, who you got and why?
Man, I don't know if you know this, but the Texans, they have a really good quarterback, man.
They might have the second best quarterback in this game.
I think
all of them.
I think they have this. I'm going to stick with my character and say, no, he's the best. But
okay, do I need to play the clip?
Okay. In all actuality, though, I am picking the Texans to win this game.
Okay.
And here's why. Everybody in the world is going to be picking the Chiefs. So if I'm right, I'm going to look like a genius here. And the fact is, there is not a good track record over the past few years of the Super Bowl winners winning the first game of the season directly after.
That's true.
We saw the Broncos lose to the Panthers right after beating the Panthers in the Super Bowl. Of course, Peyton was gone then, but what about, as a matter of fact, the Patriots versus the Chiefs, right after the Patriots' big comeback against the Falcons. Playing the Chiefs, game 1 on Thursday night, they got ran over by the Chiefs. Now, I'm going to stick with that and say that Deshaun Watson is going to make even more of a leap into that elite territory this season. And this game, he starts, and I got him winning by at least 3 here.
You would love if that happened. You would bring that up every game for the rest of the year. This is the perfect game for you to happen week 1, as a matter of fact, to kick off the season, because you have nothing to lose here.
Exactly.
If the Texans somehow win this game, and then Bill O'Brien does Bill O'Brien things, and there's no D-Hop, I'm going to hear this for the rest of the year. So I'm going to come right out of the gate. I'm going to say it's not going to happen. Total pipe dream. Kansas City wins this game. They're listed at +9 for Houston. That's a big spread in the NFL. This sources, by the way, coming from MyBookie, the sports book. I'm not buying it at all. Kansas City is too good. Patrick Mahomes is too good. He's the better quarterback. He'll always be the better quarterback. He's going to win the game because he has better receivers around him. So, Kansas City, to me, in a blowout. Kansas City, easy. No problem. I'm taking it. We'll see what happens.
Oh, man. You sure you want to say by a blowout now? Because you can say listen. Barely. That way, if you lose, you're going to look all right. But if you say a blowout and then you lose, oh, man, that's a bad
They'll win the game. They'll win the game. It's going to be like last year in the playoffs, except that they're not going to fall behind by as much. But Mahomes has still got about 50 on him in a half. So no problem at all.
They're going to have to win by 17 for you, to save face here now.
Double digits. How about double digits?
All right. Well,
double-digit win.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to win at all, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm trying to help you out here.
I'm confident, but that's what we're here for. Going into Sunday's games, first one at the in the NFC East, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Washingtons. Who do you got?
The Washingtons. I don't think there's any question here. I think Carson Wentz gets back on track this season. I think all he needs are receivers, and it's actually looking more promising with Jalen Reagor right now that he may actually be ready for week 1. And, his running back core is what it is. It's above average. But Carson Wentz should be the guy to come out and run over a horrible Washington team. I expect that Washington continues their losing streak from last season.
They might be so bad that by halfway through the year, they'll just call them the Washington team. They're not even giving him the football anymore.
They don't even play football anymore.
Yeah, here's a non-bold prediction for me. Dwayne Haskins is not going to have a Lamar Jackson season.
No.
And they're going to win 4 games behind their defense. It's not going to be a beautiful sight. No playoffs to be had. A lot of work to do. In all corners on that franchise, the Eagles are very good. To me, the best team in the division. I don't believe Dak Prescott over Carson Wentz at all. So I'm taking the Eagles as well. I'm not going to debate you on that one at all. I agree with everything you said. Going to the next one, we have the Dolphins and Patriots.
Dolphins and Patriots. Now, at the end of the last season, the Dolphins were actually doing much better than the Patriots. As we remember, I still don't know what to make of how it's going to work out with Cam Newton there. This is obviously not going to be the exact same offense that we saw Tom Brady running. He doesn't have any real deep threats at the moment right now, at least not any proven ones. It's pretty much him, Sony Michel, and Julian Edelman. And that's probably going to be the entire front of this offense. That being said, the Dolphins are in New England for this one. And we still don't know if the Dolphins can continue the streak they were on last season. It's Fitzpatrick. Who knows? The guy could come out and win 6 games straight. He could come out and lose 6 games straight. And no one would be surprised with this. So I think I'm going to trust in Belichick here. As bad as that sounds. That tastes horrible when I say that.
Yeah, that was bitter.
But I'm gonna trust that the Patriots and Cam Newton, which tastes just as bad, they're going to get it done here at home.
I imagine Cam Newton only tastes as bad because of NFC South history.
Yeah, of course.
I don't have anything against Cam Newton. As a matter of fact, I like Cam Newton as a player. And yes, I also will have to trust in Belichick involuntarily, but I'll have to do it until proven otherwise. I believe the Patriots upgraded at quarterback this offseason. I don't think the offense otherwise changed much. The defense got a bit weaker due to season-ending injuries, holdouts, and some weird cuts. So Kyle Van Noy off now. Isn't Kyle Van Noy now with the Dolphins actually? Isn't he playing against his old team, or am I getting something confused? So that's going to be a homecoming for him. I like the direction Miami is going, but it's going to take another year. I don't like that they cut Josh Rosen. That's a terrible mistake. That was no foresight at all whatsoever. But he's on the practice squad now for Tampa Bay, of all things, if you want to believe that. But
imagine that.
Tua's not starting. Yeah, Tua's not starting. Fitzmagic, yeah, you said he can do anything, but most outcomes here, the Patriots win, so I'm going to go with that just because I want to get a nice positive record for week 1. I'm not going to make my bold predictions having seen nothing having to go off how they usually look, and so far, 20 times out of 20 over the last 20 years, the Patriots come out week 1 laser focused and their defense is working perfectly, and they're going to win. So I'm taking them, no discussion here. Now this one's going to be interesting. Green Bay at Minnesota.
Green Bay, yes, this is going to be interesting. And if this season goes the way I think it is, I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers has a rebound this season. Even though he still has no first-round offensive players to play with. But I still think that he is the guy that can put a team on his back and carry them to victory. The Vikings actually got worse this offseason. I don't know why people are still ranking them as high as they have. I think it's just last season bias at this point, which I don't hate Kirk Cousins. I actually like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a really good quarterback. But his number 1 receiving target is Adam Thielen. And I know some people are very high on Adam Thielen, but I'm not. I'm not on Adam Thielen as a number 1 receiver drawing double coverage and being able to beat that coverage. So this is going to come back down to the running game again. And is Dalvin Cook actually going to put his heart and soul into this game without having his contract? That's up in the air, man. I'm going with the Packers on the road to win this one.
All right. A couple of things about what you mentioned. Mm-hmm. I just want to note the type of caliber of quarterback that we're almost just assuming here as a given. Whenever we would call it a rebound, we call it a rebound for a guy who just carried 20 traffic cones, and Devontae Adams to an NFC Championship game.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And I mentioned he's the name that you never bet against, right? The unspoken rule, you'll bet against Aaron Rodgers. I'm betting against Aaron Rodgers coming out the game right away. And here's why. Because I don't think this is Aaron Rodgers. I think this is Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers being forcibly there. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to play for this team. I don't think he's motivated to play. He has no reason to. And he's every right not to be. I don't think he cares. I think he's going to... This might be a tank season. I don't care. I'm not motivated to put it all down. He's going to be like Brady every time before January. Just... You see any defender at all, you throw the ball on the ground. I'm not getting hit. I don't care. Because there's nothing at stake. He knows he can't go to a Super Bowl. He knows he can't beat New Orleans or San Francisco. He's seen that abundantly last year. Not with the personnel that he's got around him. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go out of Green Bay soon. And this season's not looking good. I got Green Bay around the 8-8 to maybe 10-6 territory. They're not a division winner to me. And I'm actually pretty high on Minnesota, and I'm taking them. So I'll say the Vikings win.
But I will say this,
We'll see what happens.
This looks a lot like Brett Favre at the end of his Green Bay stint. But the fact is, with Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre came back and dominated a few seasons with Aaron Rodgers on the bench. Because he was motivated to.
And help me out, where did Brett Favre end up?
Vikings.
Sign of things to come? I don't think so. But I think Kirk Cousins is probably good.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. And deserved, too, for Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think the Vikings win it.
All right.
We have the Colts and the Jaguars.
Now, you have to agree with me on this one, man. Phillip Rivers, as I said all last season, is a great quarterback having a bad season. Now, he is behind possibly the best O-line in the NFL. This guy should rebound. Now, we could definitely call this a rebound or a comeback or whatever you want to call it, man. Because if he has a great season stat-wise, it actually means more than whatever Aaron Rodgers was doing, because Aaron Rodgers, like you said, had 13 wins last season. But the Jags have fallen apart. I like Gardner Minshew, but he has no running backs. He has a undrafted free agent as his starting running back now. His receivers are what they are. He had a little bit of a connection with DJ Chark last season. If he can continue that, they may get a couple touchdowns. I see the Colts running over this defense, man. I see the Colts as being surprisingly a great defense this season. I got the Colts to take this one on the road easily.
I'm going to agree with you on the result. I don't think it's a big surprise to anyone. In terms of best O-line in the game, last year I would have definitely said Ravens, and Marshall Yanda retired, so there might be a new discussion there, and the Colts are definitely in that mix. I really like, especially the left side, also Ryan Kelly's very strong center. I'm going to take Indianapolis. They're a much better team. And in terms of Jacksonville, I mean, what a disgrace. I mean, what happened to this team? Everyone's gone. You turn your head, everyone's gone.
Yeah.
Remember, 3 years ago, they were in the AFC Championship game. There were a bad call on a fumble away from going to a Super Bowl.
Yes.
And 3 years later, can you name how many of the defensive stars from Saxonville are still on that team right now?
No one, really.
I think Miles Jack, who was hurt more than
Jack
anything
is
else.
still there, huh?
But that's the only one. Everything else, everyone else is gone.
Calais, Hearns,
Ngakwe most recently. Jalen Ramsey's gone.
I meant Ramsey, not Hearns.
Dante Fowler. Everyone's gone.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't understand why. But I think, honestly, Jacksonville's going to be shipped. They're going to be shipped up overseas. That's going to be a London team in 10 years because they're going to be terrible. They're tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They're in the absolute driver's seat. They're up there with Washington for that number one pick to me at the moment. And yeah, easy win for the Indianapolis Colts at Jacksonville. Should be double-digit blowout, setting the signs for the rest of the season. I think Indianapolis is a legitimate playoff contender and for a deep playoff run even.
And both
Chicago.
Both the Jags and Washington have second-year quarterbacks, by the way. So one of those guys will be on the bench next season.
Maybe both.
Maybe both, yeah. Maybe Justin
both.
Fields takes one and Lawrence takes the other.
That might just be true. But Gardner Minshew's going to find a spot somewhere else. He's good enough. I'm not sure about Dwayne Haskins, but Minshew will.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. He's a marketable player, so.
True. Yeah. Bears at Lions.
The Bears and Lions. This is actually in Detroit. And just a little side note here, DeAndre Swift may not be ready to go, so you'll probably be seeing our old Auburn running back friend taking over to start the season. The Bears, Matt Nagy. I don't know how many times I got to say it, but I don't believe in Matt Nagy, and I don't believe in the Bears, and I don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know who's starting. Has he said yet? Have you heard? Is it?
Yeah, Trubisky's the starter.
Okay, so it is Trubisky. That gives
it's his job to lose.
I would believe more if it was Nick Foles, probably. Maybe Trubisky can have a run like his sophomore season. Maybe he can put something together. But as of right now, I think this Lions team is a much better team. Maybe not on defense, but that defense was falling apart even with the superstars that they have. You know, even with Khalil Mack and Roquan out there. You know, it's... I don't know, man. I'm going with the Lions at home. I think Matt Stafford's going to put something together. And just like most seasons, he starts out really good. And the team usually starts out really good. I know that the record over the first 6-7 games before he was injured wasn't showing really how good they were last season. But I think it's going to be a typical Lions good start to the season.
Oh, I thought we have a disagreement here. Nope, I'm picking the Lions too. I don't know what the Bears are. Can't tell. Lions have been underperforming for a decade, it feels like, but they never underperformed at the start of the season. Do you notice that the Lions are always a team that are going to the Super Bowl after 4 weeks?
Oh yeah,
because they're always the Lions are always in the top 5 in the power rankings after 3-4 weeks, and they kind of fall down.
Yeah,
and that's the Matthew Stafford syndrome, or the Alex Smith syndrome, maybe too.
Maybe
it happens a lot to the Lions. I think they'll come out strong. Though Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback. He's going to be best player on the field there, and he's going to take over at home. Should take a win, and maybe this is the year that they make a push for the division. But honestly, I'm not even going to. I'm not even going to guess anymore. They might not. It's the Lions. Who knows?
It's been 5 years since they won that division.
Long time. We'll see what happens. We got the Raiders at the Panthers.
Raiders at the Panthers. Now, I'm pretty sure... I don't know how you feel about the Panthers. I know how you feel about the Raiders. They're frauds, right?
They're frauds. It's correct.
Okay. I'm picking the Raiders to win this one. And why? Because I have no idea what the Panthers are going to look like without Cam Newton and with Teddy Bridgewater to him. Yes, he can be a serviceable quarterback in the right system. We have seen that with the Saints. But this Panthers team is not the Saints. They don't have the talent that the Saints have. They don't have the organization that the Saints have. They have a first-year head coach, and we have no idea what this is going to look like. The Raiders, I don't know if you can call them post-hype sleepers or not, because actually I'll save that term for the Browns, as a matter of fact. The Raiders, I think maybe John Gruden can finally put something together. This is year 3 or 4. I think is it 4?
This is 3, I think,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I think it is 3. Year 3 of his 10-year contract, so he's got to put something together soon, and I think he finally has enough talent, at least offensive-wise. And some of his defensive draft picks are coming of age now. I'm going to pick the Raiders to take this one on the road.
All right, it's got to happen sooner rather than later. That is definitely true. The Panthers are one of the worst teams in the league. Luke Kuechly retired. Cam Newton's gone. Teddy Bridgewater, first time in a long time in a starting role. Christian McCaffrey seems like the only bright spot here. They might be one of the worst teams in the league, but even the worst team in the league beats a fraudulent team any day of the week. So I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this game. I'm probably not going to pick the Raiders much this year, like I did last year, unless I'm seeing something visible on the field in terms of changes. I don't buy the culture. I don't buy the coaching approach. I don't buy the management approach, and I don't buy the quarterback as much as I do a lot of the others, even though he's one of the better players on the team currently. He still traded the future away, did John Gruden. They're having maybe the most off-season troubles more than any other team with the move to Vegas and having to get all that sorted out. I'll take the Panthers. I'll say Christian McCaffrey has a game that's worthy of a first overall fantasy pick, and they're going to win. It's going to be a close one, but they're at home, and Teddy's going to have a good start. He's going to be solid. That's all it takes to beat frauds. That's my pick. I'm glad we disagreed on something, though. We have the Jets and the Bills.
Oh, man. I was hoping this one was next. The Jets and the Bills. Man, the Jets are the Bears with less talent on defense. They have a horrible coach. Actually, I'll give it. They have a worse coach than the Bears.
They have a quarterback, though.
They do. That's about it. I mean, I do believe. I believe in him. I don't believe. He doesn't have much of a team around him. Like, he doesn't have a coach behind him. That's for sure. Adam Gase is the worst coach, the worst head coach in professional football. I would take most of the college coaches over Adam Gase, like easily. He's never proven himself. He's never proven he can win. He's never proven he can put together a winning season.
But he coached Peyton, the Super Bowl with the Broncos, remember?
No, as a OC.
Yeah.
Not as a head coach.
That's true.
Now, as a head coach, he has nothing but losing seasons under his belt. And I believe he's got 4 of those, and he's yet to have a winning season. I'm assuming here that the Bills is a much more talented team overall. And Josh Allen, I would say, is equal at quarterback, if not... I don't know. I mean, coming into the draft, everybody... had Josh Allen ranked lower, but I think they're neck and neck, if not better. But the talent around Josh Allen is much better on the Bills, and the defense is better because the Jets' defense, what few stars they have, are not playing this year or gone on to other teams. Going with the Bills to take this one at home.
I feel like a broken record here almost. Every single season, it seems like I'm repeating the same thing about the Jets. And it's only been 3 years since he got drafted. I feel sorry for Sam Darnold in the similar way that I do Aaron Rodgers and once did Andrew Luck and maybe Matthew Stafford to a degree. Is because if he wants to find success, it seems like he has to go somewhere else. It just has to. It seems like the organization is not willing to make the changes that they need to make, and they're going to rely on their star quarterback they picked up. It just doesn't work like that. If you're not literally Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't work like that. And Buffalo is the perfect counterexample. Yeah, Sam Darnold came out as the more complete quarterback. And everyone would have told you, Sam Darnold, he's probably got a higher chance to succeed in the NFL than Josh Allen does, or to succeed big in the NFL than Josh Allen does. He's a more complete passer. He had better vision, better understanding, and also quicker processing. He processed stuff like an NFL veteran at college level at the USC.
Better pedigree also.
But what is he going to do? What is he going to work with here? All of a sudden, the game gets faster, and he doesn't get the support. Whereas, look at Josh Allen. Buffalo is looking good, and I like them as a double-digit win team. They have a legitimate top 5 defense. Always provided him with a strong backfield of running backs, and just added Stephon Diggs as another receiver to the mix also. Buffalo is looking good. I'm really buying the Bills, maybe to win the division, go deep in the playoffs this year. Jets, man, I have to agree with what you said. I can't pick them. Gonna say Buffalo takes this one at home, and it rather easily, actually. We have the Browns and the Ravens.
Browns at the Ravens. This will be interesting, to me at least. Now, here's the thing. We can't just go with, I don't know if you're going with the spread on every game or not, because I really didn't look at the spread before this, but I'm definitely assuming that the Ravens are favored in this game, probably by at least a touchdown or two.
6.5.
6.5. Okay, almost a touchdown.
No, it's 7.5 even. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, over a touchdown. Well, a touchdown and a point after, as a matter of fact. But, so, it's tough, man, because if you watch the Browns at the end of last season, you would say the Ravens definitely are blowing them out. Like, give them 4 touchdowns. But this is the post-hype sleeper that everyone sees, man. You know, and people doubt teams because of their last season. And I don't know, it's really hard to put into words what I'm trying to say, but the fact that the Browns were so doubted after being so highly praised last year because they completely fell on their face, this should be the season when everyone doubts them and they actually put together a good season. And it should start right here. Man, and I hate picking against Lamar Jackson because he's such a phenomenal player, but I think Baker Mayfield and the band of clowns, as you say, are gonna put together something here and actually come out and get a win the first game of the season against the Ravens.
All right. So to me, this Cleveland Browns team is the exact same thing, but in red. From last year, honestly. Inexperienced, young, player-oriented head coach. Didn't have any control over the team whatsoever. Disciplinary issues left, right, and center. They kick him out the door, bring in the next guy. I don't see how this changed. Yeah, they get a year older, but we know how Odell and Baker and Jarvis and Kareem Hunt and Myles Garrett are. They'll still be that way in 10 years. And yes, they're good players. They have talent. I don't see this team having the type of authority or leading figure that most teams need to establish themselves as successful and stop underperforming. So to me, they're going to underperform comparative to their talent. I think this is going to be, once again, an 8-8 team. The Baltimore Ravens still look very strong. I mentioned the O-line got slightly weaker. But they're still stacked to the teeth, and they're one of the best teams in the league. They're going to look to go to the Super Bowl, which they wanted to go last year, and it was a major disappointment, you could argue, even with how far they went, losing to the Titans and not even going to an AFC Championship game. You could argue that was a disappointing season. That was an underwhelming result for the type of talent that this team has. I think they're gonna win this game, and I think they're gonna do it rather easily. I will say, at this point in time, Baker Mayfield has outperformed my expectations, because, or rather, not even my expectations on a football stage, but on a behavioral stage.
Yeah, me
and he's
too.
done that by being in the league still, and not either in jail or in some kind of rehab or on the streets, the way of the Menzel. Right? He's an NFL starter. I said when he was drafted, if he could do like 2-3 years without any major off the field bull crap, excuse my French, right? He's good in my book. Like, that's all I'm asking of him. I know he can play okay. He's no Aaron Rodgers. He's not terrible. He can start for 10 years with a very good team, make the playoffs if stuff works. I don't think stuff's gonna work. Talent's there. The organization to me still isn't where I want to see it. Maybe you're right with the kind of, they're being underestimated, they're being doubted, now they go crazy. I don't see it happening just yet. I think it's very much the same as last year, and it's going to be 8-8 again. I don't believe land just yet. I'm going to go with Baltimore there. How about the Seahawks and Falcons? Your Falcons, in fact.
Yes, and This has actually become a rivalry over the past 5 to 8 years or somewhere, you know. The Falcons and the Seahawks have really went at it, and almost every time it comes down to a final play or two. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm high on the Falcons because they have the talent. I'm not high on the coaching. But the Falcons should keep winning. I mean, as long as the defense plays like it did last season, if the offense plays like it did last season and the defense is just okay, we will be fine. We will win at least 10 games. But we have to have a defense, and having a defensive-minded head coach obviously means nothing if your coach is Dan Quinn, and I put him in the same group with Matt Nagy and Bill O'Brien, and maybe not Adam Gase, because Adam Gase is totally the worst, but he's a little, just a step above Adam Gase. But the Seahawks, man, it's going to be tough. It's probably going to be a close game, and it might even be a shootout, to tell you the truth, but I'm going to go with the Falcons at home.
Gotta go with the Falcons at home. So you predict very close game, and the stats or even the projections would back you up on this. This is the closest spread of the entire weekend.
I believe it.
2-point spread. So it's gonna be a very, very close one. I'm gonna take the Falcons with the following exposition. I think the Falcons are what you prophesized for the Browns. They are the team that are legitimately underestimated and doubted going into the season. I have not seen a lot of people have Atlanta even make the playoffs because they're saying New Orleans wins double digits, Tampa Bay wins double digits, maybe wins the division, and the Falcons typically get left out of the picture. I think they have a good shot at making the playoffs this year, living up to their expectations, and they have proven that they can. They have the veteran type of characters in the house that can do it. Now, yeah, the coaching, we can doubt that all that we want, but if we look at it as an objective point of view, this roster is a top 5 roster in the league in terms of talent. And we know that last year they didn't perform to that. I think they can make a playoff spot. I think they'll start by beating Seattle. I hope they'll start by beating Seattle because I want as many people as possible to beat Seattle. That's obviously not a secret. But yeah, I'm taking them. It's a small one, but small difference, but I do believe in them. I believe they can pull this off. Got the Chargers at the Bengals.
Chargers at the Bengals, man. 2 dumpster fires from last season are going to play in week 1. Which dumpster has the biggest flame? Let's break this down. All right, so we got Tyrod Taylor, depending on who you're talking to, starting versus Joe Burrow. 2 guys who have not started for their teams before. I'm going to say the quarterback play, considering Joe Burrow, was phenomenal in college, but he still hasn't played in the NFL, so we don't know. I'm going to give them, they're pretty much even at quarterback. Receiving talent, you got A.J. Green, you got Keenan Allen, as far as their number 1 receivers, and they're the backups to those guys, aren't, I guess, I wouldn't say top tier talent. They're no Calvin Ridley or Chris Godwin, but I'm going to give them their receiving core is about even. Their tight ends, I mean, I guess you could place tight ends in receiving core, but tight ends, the clear advantage goes to the Chargers. I'll take Hunter Henry over CJ Uzomah any day. Offensive line, I do believe the Bengals O-line is getting better. They were one of the worst in the entire league last season. Chargers O-line continually got worse throughout last season. Defense, Chargers have a clear advantage. No Derwin James, which I was hoping to see with Derwin James this year. Bengals, I think their defense gets better. So I got these teams pretty much even. They're both dumpster fires. They're
Very
both
close.
horrible. I'm going to give it to the Bengals only because they're at home. And that may not mean anything in week 1, but it's something that I can go with.
That's interesting. I think, what's the rule for the teams in Ohio? I think 9,000 fans or something was the limit. Was it 6,000?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I I don't know. I haven't even looked to see how many of these games are actually going to have any fans, because some of them are having no fans at all, right?
Some are having none at all. Yeah,
I don't think Atlanta's having fans for the first couple of games.
I think 9K was the limit in Ohio, so it's gonna be attendance wise about like a preseason game, and it's probably gonna feel like that in the play too, because there's gonna be a lot of raw talent on the field. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pick the Chargers. Because, again, I like their defense a lot more established. We have a great pass rush there. Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are going to make it a tough ride for Joe Burrow starting his first game. Now, Joe Burrow is going to be really good. I don't have doubts about that. But I think this Bengals team is too raw and too young just yet, and the Chargers have that veteran presence. I'm going to give the quarterback advantage to Tyrod Taylor as well, just purely based on experience. And that might literally just be the first 6 games of this season. And after that, Joe Burrow will forever be much better. But gonna take the Chargers to win this one. It's not gonna be a very meaningful win, as I don't see either team really pushing for the playoffs too hard unless either one of the young quarterbacks really starts showing up very early. But I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm going to pick the Chargers. A lot of things have to happen for Cincinnati to win it with Joe Burrow. And less things need to happen that are unexpected for the Chargers to win it. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. I will say this. It would have been more exciting to see 2 rookie quarterbacks start against each other rather than
that is
just
true.
Burrow. But
that is definitely true. We have the Cardinals at Niners.
Cardinals at Niners, man. And I really do appreciate you picking the Falcons earlier, because I'm going to go with the Cardinals now. Because, because losing Super Bowl teams are notoriously bad starts to the next season. Now, I will say frequently they do win the first game of the season. But, man, you know what? I'm almost talking myself out. But I think the Cardinals are going to put something together this season. I think Cliff Kingsbury can actually pull off this offense that he was wanting to do last season, but he just didn't have the players coached up enough to do it. I think this is another, post-type sleeper thing where if we pull off this offense that Cliff Kingsbury wants to run, which is in turn the exact opposite of the offense the 49ers run. They're ground and pound 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But I think the Cardinals get the jump on them because last season the 49ers struggled with running quarterbacks and they struggled with Kenyon Drake. So if Kenyon Drake starts, I assume they're still going to have problems with him, and they're still going to have problems with Kyler Murray. And I will say, though, George Kittle probably has a really good game because the Cardinals are very last in the entire league at guarding tight ends for a receiving role. But I'm going with the Cardinals.
All right, so I'm gonna just present this to you as fact, right? You now have picked a loss for the Chiefs, Ravens, and 49ers in week 1. The consensus 3 best teams of the past season, all of which facing teams that might have gotten even worse during the offseason, or at least last year weren't even a playoff contender.
I know, it's crazy, right?
It sounds kind of off to me. I don't know about that. And talking ground and pound game, yes, kind of, but there's a difference in the Jim Harbaugh type ground and pound game. That's the gap running versus the Shanahan zone running, right? Very different, very different schemes in terms of how they're blocked, but the philosophy stays the same. Also riding on a great defense, number 1 defense. So yeah, I don't know why you would come up with the Cardinals here. I guess you really like Kyler Murray. I am not so sure about that, but you know that already. Yes, the Cardinals vastly overperformed last year. Maybe the Niners underperformed against the Cardinals because both of those games were way too close, way closer than they ever should have been. So I can see why you would say this, and this would be a big surprise coming in week 1, and it's one of those that I think is realistic and could happen if the Niners slip up. I'm not going to pick it though. I'm not going to go. This team is too consistent. The defense is too consistent. The offense systematically is too consistent. This is not a team that drops off all of a sudden because it can't. It's not a team that relies on one thing. Like I think the Packers will drop off because if Aaron Rodgers drops off, the Packers are dead. There's not a player or even a position group on the 49ers that say if they were taken away, this team would be terrible. You could say defensive line, but even then, there's still a lot of Pro Bowl pieces on this roster. You could say maybe quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. Remember whenever he got hurt 2 seasons ago, not much happened after that. But it seems like this roster is solid enough and actually come of age enough to weather those kinds of things if they were to happen, which of course we hope it won't. They've activated Fred Warner off of the COVID reserve list, ready to go for Week 1. Mm-hmm. There's hopes for Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I think we'll have some receivers on the field. I'm going to pick San Francisco. I can't pick against them after seeing them last year. I think the Cardinals will be good. Not going to doubt it, but I can't pick against those teams that were top of the league last year right now with having no reason to. Because I think that, especially in a more choppy offseason like this one, teams that are already on top and were already successful have an easier path, because kind of what they have to do is really just keep going, just keep doing what they were doing, which it worked. They were already good. Whereas you look at teams that are been rebuilding, signing a lot of key players like Arizona, maybe a bit more work to do, a bit more fundamental changes to make. So I think it'll favor the established teams that already succeeded last year. So I have to pick the 49ers. Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
All right, so that big long spiel you just gave me, I'm gonna take that to heart right here.
Right.
I'm not gonna change my Cardinals pick.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go with the Saints in this one, and here's why. Because I'm going to label the Bucs the hyped up failures of this season, kind of like the Browns of last season. I think these guys are so hyped up right now. I see analysts saying that they're headed to the Super Bowl, that they could even go undefeated this season. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. Yes, okay, so they picked up Leonard Fournette. They picked up Tom Brady. They have a great receiving core. I don't see Tom Brady at 44 or whatever he is, 43, 44, actually just throwing downfield. Mike Evans is a great receiver. He's a Julio type.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Tom Brady still has it in him to get the ball to him downfield. Are we going to have him running little crossing routes and slant routes? And I think Godwin will get a lot of work. I think Gronk will catch a few passes, but Gronk is not the Gronk that he used to be. O.J. Howard. I think they would be better off putting O.J. Howard to work this season, but Bruce Arians doesn't run a tight end offense, a tight end receiving offense. Tight ends are there to block, which I know that's not going to work out with Gronk because Tom Brady's going to throw it to him no matter what. And be it what it will, the Saints are still the Saints. They're still the same team from last year. They didn't lose much of anything. They lost Von Bell off the defense, which could hinder them at safety. But it's Peyton's team. They're always good, except for once every 10 years. 1 out of every 10 years they stumble for some reason. I don't know. I'm going with the Saints at home because I just don't believe in the Bucs yet.
No, I don't believe that speech I gave actually changed your mind. I'm not buying it. You were always going to pick the Saints. Let's be honest about that one. And so am I. A lot of people in Tampa Bay are in for a rude awakening this season. If I understand anything about football, people are talking 12, 13, 14, 15 wins. Mm-hmm. Double digits is the ceiling for this team. They say Tampa Bay stands for Tom Brady. Well, is that really what you want is my question. I don't know. I think a lot of people might get exposed a little bit this year, and that includes Bruce Arians, it includes Brady and Gronk. I don't know what to think about this team, honestly. To me, I straight up have the Falcons over Tampa Bay in any prediction I will make. I think they're a better team. I think they have better offense, maybe even defense, maybe almost even level coaching. And I do like Bruce Arians a lot, but still.
I like Bruce Arians, yeah. I can't.
I have the Falcons beating out the Bucs for at least the second spot in the division. I believe they'll all be competing for the number 1, except for Carolina. Obviously, I think they'll be out of the picture. I'll take the Saints at home. No reason not to. They brought Breeze back for one more year, trying to get back to the Super Bowl. It's been a long time that he's been there. Last year, again, kind of like the Ravens, major disappointment, just being out so early, not even getting a chance. and losing to the Vikings in another terrible way once again. I don't see the Saints squandering this year. I don't see them losing to a patchwork Tampa Bay team that's turned everything upside down this offseason, frantically trying to bring back literally legends from the past, because that's what Gronk and Brady are at the moment, at this point in time. I don't see this working out as a cohesive unit, like a team that has been together in this exact formation for 5, even 10 years with the Saints. It's got to work better for New Orleans, and they're going to win the game handily, in my opinion. But I'm going to be following this game because it's going to be the only game that's on, well, with the Niners and Cardinals game in that time slot. I guess Chargers and Bengals play, but, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be following that on the second screen for sure. But I'm picking this. I'm picking the Saints. I'm definitely agreeing with you.
I want to point this out. 84 years. That's the combined age of these two quarterbacks playing each other. 84.
That is 4 rookie quarterbacks.
That might be a record.
That's incredible. Wow, that might be a record. Monday night, we have the Cowboys and the Rams.
Cowboys and the Rams. This was actually one of the tough ones for me to pick. I mean, I guess the Falcons and Seahawks are a closer game, but I was always going to go with the Falcons, so it really didn't matter. This one here, I really had to think about this. You have Dak Prescott, who still hasn't gotten his money yet. You have Jared Goff, who I see probably making a comeback this year and maybe not going to the Super Bowl again. But I do see him actually returning to more of a prominent role, or more prominence. More like he was 2 years ago. That's the only way I can say it. Dak Prescott, though, I mean, the Cowboys are what the Cowboys are. You know, they're a 10-win team on good years, and they're a 8-win team on bad years. The Rams, is Sean McVay what Sean McVay has been claimed to be? That's the question here, and this will be the year for him to prove it. If he has another losing season, people are going to give up on Sean McVay. If he gets his team back to where they can be, then Sean McVay, joins the Shanahans and the whoever else you want to add to that list. But yeah, I think for this game here, right off the rip, I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win the first game here. But I do think both of these teams probably end up this season somewhere close to each other.
I'm going to agree with you here. I'll pick Dallas also. Both of these teams, I think the Cowboys are the more overrated one, whereas with the Rams, I think a lot of people can just agree that they're going to be an 8-8 sort of team. I think Cowboys are more likely to underperform given their expectations. I don't buy Dak Prescott as much as some people do, and they have a very strong, very talented roster. I think they're overall a better roster. I don't think when it comes down to it, the quarterback play will be able to really get them to a potential Super Bowl or really deep in the playoffs. And I don't love the Mike McCarthy hiring either. It's by no means any type of outstanding play caller at all. And in terms of the Rams, they've lost their most important player a while ago in Todd Gurley. Because I've mentioned this before, but the key difference between this running game and the Shanahan running game, the outside zone blocking schemes is focused around blocking. Offensive line, George Kittle is the most important piece in that Niners running attack. For the Rams, it's all about the running back. You have so many of those counter plays, those gap runs, and a lot of decision making for those running backs. And that's the most important piece in that offense. With no elite running back, mediocre offensive line, the important part of that offense is going to be hindered. Jared Goff gets to wear a red number 16 in practice, which is the closest he'll ever get to a legendary quarterback. And Sean McVay, he's a good coach, he's a good play caller, but I don't see the Rams seriously competing for this division, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually finished last in the NFC West this year, which is going to be a very hard division, though. I'll give them that. Take Dallas to win it on the road for the first one, but don't get too excited. I don't think they'll go really far. That being said, Two Monday night games this time. We have Pittsburgh at the Giants for one.
Pittsburgh at the Giants. I think this comes down to Big Ben. Big Ben's getting up there in age, too. He's got to be 38, 39 by now. Now, with his season off, effectively, pretty much a season off, he went out in, what was it, the first game last season? Did he make it to week 2?
I don't even remember. Yeah, it might have been week 1 or 2.
Yeah, it was 1 or 2 for sure. He has a great receiving core. He has a great running back core behind him. The Giants, they have one great player, and I like Danny Dimes a lot. But other than that, they really don't have a lot. The defense is horrible. Steelers have one of the best defenses in the league. Even though they're on the road, I got to say that the Steelers take this one for the first game of the season. It's all going to come down to Big Ben, though, and how Big Ben plays, because we saw what the Steelers do with the quarterback carousel, So it's all up to Big Ben to win this one for him.
It really, to me, comes down to this one. Just thought experiment. What if Ben is the second best quarterback on the field that day?
Oh, it's definitely possible, because I do like Danny Dimes. He's like a Jameis Winston to me, though, because he's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to throw interceptions, and you don't know if you're going to get the good side or the bad side of that each week. I like him in fantasy. Now, in fantasy, I'd go all over him in this game. I would probably pick him over the Steelers for the season. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would agree. But to me, even if that's the case, like say Daniel Jones is a marginally better quarterback coming out, I think the Steelers still win this game. I think they have a top 3 defense. They have a good running game. I think they have better receivers. I think they're better at any position. And the Giants are a developmental project, and they're trending up for all I know, and they will be trending up. So I like Daniel Jones just as much as you do. I think Pittsburgh is just a better team, and the better team typically wins, especially games when there's not a lot of practice before it's early in the season. Typically, the more solid team just is favored. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well, and that leads us into the final one for this first weekend: Tennessee at the Broncos.
Now, if you were judging off the last of the season last year, you would definitely go with the Titans right offhand. I mean, there would be no question about it. Look at how Derrick Henry was playing at the end of the season. Look how Ryan Tannehill was playing at the end of the season. I don't know that continues. I really don't. I was high on the Titans during the first part of the offseason, but now at this point, I'm kind of walking that back, because you really look at it like this. They had a half a season of success last year with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. And yeah, AJ Brown, just conflated green and brown in the same word there. AJ Brown, broke out in the second half of the season as well. But I think that was due to Derrick Henry mostly, to tell you the truth. I mean, these teams were so scared of Derrick Henry at the second half of that season that they were leaving receivers wide open. And Tannehill was having luck that way. Now, they've had a whole offseason to prepare for this. And I think the Broncos are on the rise. They had a great draft. They have Drew Lock, who is coming into his second season, and he should be much improved. And at this point in time, I would take Drew Lock over Ryan Tannehill if I had a franchise that I wanted to start. So I'm gonna say, I think overall the Broncos are the better team here. I'm gonna say they take it, especially because they're at home.
I'm having a hard time gauging this one. I like the Broncos long-term better than Tennessee as well. But then you have to consider the Titans massively overshot anybody's expectations last year. Like, they just eked into the playoffs. People didn't think they were going to go far. And is the unprecedented success they had representative of what the team actually is, or was it more of a one-off? Was it more of a fluke almost? And that's going to be really the determining factor on seeing how this continues, and if they are actually one of the teams that are just overhyped going into this year. think they have a very solid team to go off. I don't hate Ryan Tannehill. I think he's going to be okay. I don't see this team going back to the AFC Championship game, right? To me. Mm-mm. But I still think they're going to be a good team. Potentially double-digit wins, playoff spot is possible. Denver's young. They're building on a very strong core now. Von Miller is out with an injury. That is a problem. That is a huge problem because last year we saw the same happen to Bradley Chubb. And that wasn't a good idea. Or that wasn't a good thing for them. I think Von Miller even a bigger hit because he might still be one of the best. He's still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Has been maybe the best for a long time now. It's going to hurt them significantly, especially getting them. The Titans have a good pair of tackles, and being able to get pressure on Ryan Tannehill is something to really throw him off his game, and it's very important. Also, setting the edge against the run game. I have a hard time picking this game. I'll tell you this. I'm going to pick the Titans. Because I think the Broncos might be the better team this season, but they'll take a couple more games. That's what I'm saying. They'll take a couple more games to really get going, get fire on all cylinders. Take the Titans to get the win in this one. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if we see both of these teams in an earlier round in the playoffs again and Denver taking it. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Gotta take the Titans. I think Derrick Henry, they have a very solid game plan. Give it to Derrick Henry. Just run the ball. And then once they put 8 people in the box, throw it. Let Ryan Tannehill throw the one-on-one corner routes and the simpler path, the one-on-one tight end over the middle and the mesh concepts. That's stuff he can do. He's a serviceable quarterback. That's not going to be super easy to stop either. Denver's going to have to find their footing a bit. It's going to take them a few weeks. Taking that as Tennessee here. So that rounds it up for this week. And just a little bit, maybe a couple of betting tips from me for some people who might be willing to put some money on the line. We've seen the biggest spread of the entire weekend in the first game. Texans and Chiefs. Honestly, it's the biggest spread. Chiefs are -9. You know what? If we're picking this against the spread, and I might be the one to do, I might put a little bit of money on Houston here. I don't think they'll win. You can do it. I don't think they'll win. I don't think it'll be close, but the result might be closer than what the game is. So you might want to put a little bit there, depending on how much you don't like the Patriots or don't believe in the Patriots. They're -6.5, so there might be something there for you against Dolphins. And other than that, Jacksonville is +8 against Indy. So if you're thinking that could be a closer one because it's early on, maybe that's the one. But really what I want to highlight is the over-unders. The over-unders is where the money's being made this year. And I will say this, I'm committing to this. I'm going to put $5 on every single game's under this week. Every single game. And I'm expecting to win 80%. Because typically this is what happens at the start of the season. Already. Because defense is easier to get ready than offense. That's how football is. Now, we didn't have preseason games. Teams had limited training camps, limited padded practices. People canceled their scrimmages. Offenses will come out and have problems this weekend. And this is honestly as reliable as it gets for making some money, in my opinion. If I know anything about football, most of those unders are going to improve. I'm just going to read some out. Kansas City, Houston, the over-under is 54.5 points.
Ooh, that's up
Cleveland, Baltimore, 48.5. Seattle, Atlanta, 49 points. So you're around that 50. Most of them are between the 41-50 point range. That's not going to happen. You're going to see a lot of 10-13, 7-14, maybe 21 threes this weekend.
Remember the first game of last season, the Packers and the Bears? It was like 9-6 or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
it's going to happen.
Horrible. Yeah.
It's going to happen. Bet the unders. That's the big advice I can give. Bet the unders. I'll be betting the unders. Other than that, that's our weekly predictions. Let us know what you think in the comments. And next week, of course, we're going to have our first combined record and see how well we got off the charts. I'm liking my chances here. I'm thinking I might have a point or two on you already. Of course, picking against the Ravens, Chiefs, and Niners is a bold one, but I don't think you'll get rewarded for it. I think I'm taking those, so we'll see what happens there.
Of course you don't think that. That's why you pick the other teams.
Correct. That's why I picked the other team. That's a very good point. We'll see what happens. Maybe you're justified and so, but we'll be back next week. Let us know your picks in the comments of the video. And if you do you have anything to add, Smokey, first of all?
Nope, that's it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.